This couple hasn't paid a housing bill in 10 years. In fact, their house pays them over $5,000 a month. Meet Todd and Angela Baldwin. They didn't win the lottery or inherit money. They definitely didn't get rich and then buy real estate. Instead, they bought real estate and stopped being broke. Here's the question that you should be asking yourself. What if the fastest way into real estate isn't buying a rental property? What if it's renting out your own home around you? Because that's exactly what house hacking is. You live in a property, your tenants cover the mortgage, sometimes with cash left over. Basically, living for free. Or better yet, get paid to live in your own home. Stay with me, because later in this video, I'm going to break down the exact numbers from a real duplex house hack. We'll talk about its purchase price, down payment, rent, and cash flow, and the hidden downsides that almost no one ever tells you. Let's get into it. Here's a number that should make you uncomfortable. Housing eats roughly 33% of the average American's budget. According to Bureau of Labor Statistics data, it's the single largest expense most people carry. Think about that for a minute. Now, picture two side-by-side budgets. On the left, a typical renter pays rent, utilities, and renter's insurance, and housing takes 30% of income. But on the right, a successful house hacker. Housing cost 0%. House hacking is a direct response to three things happening right now. 1. Rising rents in every major metro. Not forgetting the down payment barriers for traditional investment properties, which require 20 to 25% down. Here's where house hacking comes in. House hacking turns your biggest expense into your first real estate deal. Here's the question I want you to sit with. If you removed your housing cost for the next 10 years, how different would your life look? The answer is simple. You live in part of a property you own. You rent out the rest. That rent offsets or eliminates your housing cost entirely. Now here's one key thing to remember. The property types that work. Go for a 2 to 4 unit multifamily, say a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Or you can go with a single family home with roommates, renting by the room. Or a primary home with an ADU, basement unit, or garage apartment. Here's why 2 to 4 units are special. They count as residential. That means you can use owner-occupied loans, the good ones, the ones with low down payments. FHA loans allow you to buy up to 4 units. That is if you live in one of them. This is the loophole that changes everything, because most people think you need 20% down to buy a rental property. Actually, you don't. Not if you live there. In a minute, we'll show how some people start with as little as 3.5%. Let me introduce you to two real people who figured this out. Case study 1, Todd and Angela Baldwin, the 10-year free ride. Todd and Angela bought a 6-bedroom home in Seattle. They lived in 1 bedroom, used one as an office, and rented out 4 bedrooms to housemates. Their house produced around $5,000 a month. A primary residence turned into an income-producing asset. As their family grew, they transitioned into a duplex with a garage studio they Airbnb'd. Still not paying housing costs. The mental shift happened when they realized they would never again pay normal rent or carry a solo mortgage. That shift is worth more than the cash flow, because once your brain stops treating housing as an expense and starts treating it as a revenue center, everything changes. Jeff used stacked house hacks and rent by the room to build roughly $90,000 a year in income and over $1 million in equity. He bought a new house hack every year. His units had key code locks on bedroom doors, intentional furniture, and clear house rules posted on the fridge. The key: emotional detail. He treated roommates as a business from day one, not as friends crashing on the couch. And because he ran it like a business, it paid him like one. This is the part people gloss over. We're not going to gloss over it. So owner-occupied financing works like this. FHA loans allow you to buy 1 to 4 unit properties with as little as 3.5% down, often with credit scores of 580 or higher. But you must live in 1 unit as your primary residence for at least 1 year. Here's where it gets interesting. The rental income from your other units doesn't just pay your mortgage, it can also help you qualify for the loan in the first place. Lenders will typically count around 75 to 80% of projected rent from the other units when they're calculating whether you can afford the payment. So the property is essentially helping you get approved for the property. Now here's a trade-off you need to remember. FHA loans come with upfront and annual mortgage insurance premiums. If you put less than 10% down, you often pay that insurance for the life of the loan. That's the cost of the low down payment. Don't ignore it, factor it in. Let's walk through one concrete example. You buy a $300,000 triplex. 3.5% down of that is $10,500. You move into 1 unit, you rent the other 2. Each rented unit brings in $900 a month. That's $1,800 total. Your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and FHA premiums come to around $2,000 a month. Your tenants are covering $1,800 of that. Based on this, your effective housing cost is $200 a month. And on 3 to 4 unit FHA properties, lenders apply a self-sufficiency test. 75% of the expected rent must cover the total housing payment. Think of this as choosing your discomfort, not choosing between good and bad options. Every version of house hacking requires something from you. The question is what you can live with. Say a multifamily unit, probably a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex, so you have separate doors but a shared mortgage. There's perks to this, for example, clean separation, more rental income potential, and it's easier to emotionally detach as a landlord. But there's downsides, like a higher purchase price, more complex management, and stronger numbers needed to meet lender self-sufficiency rules on 3 to 4 units. The next option is single-family rent by room. In this arrangement, your room is home and the rest is business. So you occupy one bedroom and rent the others individually. This can dramatically increase income, especially near universities or job centers. But you're sharing kitchens, fridges, and bathrooms. So there's the lifestyle trade-off. Then there's the third option, ADU, basement, or garage unit. The concept is simple. Build or convert a basement, garage, or detached space into a separate rental unit where zoning allows. Some owners even move into the smaller unit and rent out the main house for more income. Of course, you can always go with short-term rentals and hybrid strategies. Some owner-occupiers Airbnb spare rooms or units to maximize income. There are cases where Airbnb earnings covered the entire mortgage. But here's something you need to know. FHA financed properties typically require long-term leases and prohibit short-term rental operations until you refinance into a conventional loan. Know the rules before you act on this. Then there is the live-in flip, where you buy a fixer and live there while renovating. You can rent rooms or an ADU during the rehab to offset holding costs, then refinance or sell. Close this section with an honest question. Which version of discomfort do you actually tolerate? Less privacy, sharing walls with tenants, managing a construction project around your daily life. There's no wrong answer, but there is a wrong choice for your personality. Now let's talk about what the highlight reels skip. There's a Reddit thread that went viral in real estate communities. Someone followed the house hacking script perfectly, moved from a high-cost city to a duplex in a lower-cost area, cut expenses. The numbers looked great on paper. After a year, they threw in the towel. The reason was constant overlap between personal life and business, never really feeling off, and resentment about tenants in their personal space. Their exact words, "A business is not a home. A home is not a business." That's real. And it's more common than the success stories suggest. I mean, being on call, leaks, clogged toilets, noise complaints at 11 p.m. You're both neighbor and landlord simultaneously. The emotional weight of handling late rent, confrontations, or evictions when you live next door. Then there's the legal and zoning landmines. Like some cities and HOAs restrict renting rooms, short-term rentals, or ADUs entirely. For example, FHA rules ban Airbnb-style operations until you refinance. House hacking is powerful, but it is not for everyone. So why do some people thrive while others burn out? The difference usually isn't the property, it's the plan. Step 1. Choose the right type for your personality. Are you comfortable with communal living? Rent by room may maximize cash flow, but demands clear house rules enforced consistently. Step 2. Run brutally honest numbers. Model all expenses. We are talking about taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, vacancy rate, and a repair reserve. If your projected income only works at 100% occupancy with top-of-market rents, the deal is too fragile for a first house hack. Step 3. Set up systems like a real landlord, even if tenants are down the hall. Like written leases tailored for room rentals or multi-units, no handshakes, key code locks on exterior and bedroom doors, labeled pantries and fridges, and strong signal this is a business, not a shared living arrangement between friends. There should also be clear rules on quiet hours, guests, cleaning, and parking, and enforce them consistently. Step 4. Protect your sanity. Consider hiring a property manager even if you live on site. One failed house hacker said later that hiring a manager from the start would have saved the entire venture. Then, keep a financial cushion for vacancies, unexpected repairs, and legal fees. Emotionally separate home time from landlord time. Set hours for tenant issues when possible. Step 5. Plan the exit and the stack. Most investors move out after a year or more, turning the entire property into a rental and then repeating the process with a new house hack. That's the stack. One property becomes two. Two becomes four. All funded by zero housing cost and growing equity. House hacking is the simplest way to stop paying for a home and start getting paid by your home. This will leave you with 3 questions to sit with after you close this video. What would you do with an extra $1,500 to $3,000 a month if housing was no longer an expense? Could you handle 1 year of discomfort for 10 years of freedom? And what would your financial life look like if you started 5 years ago versus starting today? Remember Todd and Angela. Remember the accidental millionaire stacking house hacks every year. Here's your forward path. Learn your local rules. Run the numbers on one potential duplex or room rental in your city. Talk to at least one person who has actually house hacked there. That's it. 3 steps. The question isn't whether house hacking works, it works. The question is whether you're willing to live differently long enough for it to change your life. See you in the next one.